Madhava Kunja Bihari
Ramanavami Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha
Jaya Gopi Jana Vam Girivaradari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yamunatira
Munatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Savanachari
Munatira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastava Gauranga Bhakta
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivachadi Gaura Bhaktavinda
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastava Gauranga Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Devam Vishpada Paramahamsa Parivacharya Asuraparashishi Shrimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The holy appearance day of Lord Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. Lord Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Prasthava Kilesham Vidikamo Krishna Viswandhyanam Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Prasthava Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Gurucharini Nirvisheshwani Adipasita Adista. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna everyone. So today is the holy appearance day of Lord Ramachandra Bhagavan. Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from the 9th canto. You can look at it. It's in chapter 10 onwards, entitled Pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. And then as we read, I will discuss a little here and there, since mostly everything is in the in the purports and in the translations by Srila Prabhupada. And tonight we'll speak some pastimes, but now we'll just look at the how the Lord appeared and in which lineage and so on. Okay. I might not read the Sanskrit so much because some of them are pretty long. So, all right, so text 1. Sukadeva Goswami said, the son of Maharaj Katvanga was Dirghabahu, and his son was the celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Maharaj Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality Maharaj Dasharat. Text 2. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaja Dasharatha. Now, Srila Prabhupada explains how these are all Vishnu Tattvas and not Jiva Tattva. Sometimes in the incarnation of Ram Avatar, the Lord, in this case, he's coming from the, depends, he can expand from the Chaturvyuha, means Vasudev, Sankarshan, and then Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So those incarnations can come as Ram, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna. And then other times they just come from the Narayana expansion. That means Lord Narayana becomes Ram, and then Shesha, his bed, who's an expansion of Balaram and so on, they become, Shesha becomes Lakshman, and then Bharat and Satrughna are sometimes also the conch shells or the paraphernalia. But in this case, in this particular advent, he's directly coming from the Chaturvyuha. Okay, so that's a difference. So the Lord has many forms, and this form of Ram is one of the most celebrated incarnations also. And if you understand the hierarchy, just outside of Goloka, it's actually Ayodhya, all right? Because within Goloka you have Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwaraka, and outside of that realm, then you have this Ayodhya. And then after Ayodhya is all the other Vaikuntha planets. So in Ayodhya, the relationship is almost like in the relationship in Goloka, but it's not quite there because there's too much awe and reverence. Huh? Everyone is behaving in the rasa where they are always seeing themselves as servants of Lord Narayana or servants of Lord Ram. They don't see themselves as equals like the Gopas or like boyfriend and girlfriends like the Gopis, or even the cowherd men who see them as the sons and so on. Even though Dasarath was the father and he has so much love, there's still that understanding that Ram is the supreme Lord and the expansions. So therefore, there is a difference in the mood, a slight difference between the devotees in Goloka and the devotees in Ayodhya. So these are some things you can understand. And if you want, you can read further on. Yeah. Text 3 will continue. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ramachandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. So this Valmiki Ramayana has been existing for a long time, okay? Sometimes we don't know. We think it's only the first time that this Ramayana is taking place. Huh? Actually, it is said that in every Treta Yuga there is Ram's appearance, but in reality, in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami actually writes that this incarnation of the Lord, he comes only once in a day of Brahma. Okay, Ram only comes once in a day of Brahma, right? And that means once every day of Brahma. How long is a day of Brahma? 4.32 billion
yes.
Yeah. So, and then that means once a day means there's also a night time. So therefore 8.64 billion years passes, and then in the next day of Brahma, again Lord Ram appears. So this is explained in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, where Rupa Goswami actually he says that there are 25 avatars, and they are all known as Kalpa avatars. Okay, so for most part, they appear only once in each kalpa. For most part, they can appear more than once. But as the original Ram from Ayodhya, I think he comes only once. Okay, so that is something all of you can also appreciate and so on. Now, there are other avatars like Varaha. Varaha appears twice in each kalpa. Okay, and Matsya, actually, he appears 14 times during each kalpa. Rupa Goswami explains like that. That's very interesting, because there are 14 Manus. So Matsya avatar comes because there's always flooding after every Manu is changed. So Matsya will come to rescue them like that. All right, so I just wanted to highlight that so that at least you can understand. And also in the Padma Purana, it says that the Lord Ram is mentioned in 100 different pastimes or compilations. And if you read these compilations, there's Kamba Ramayana, there's different types of Ramayana. So Rupa Goswami explains that if there's difference between each Ramayana, the only thing that he can say is because they appeared in different kalpas. And therefore there's a difference in the Ramayana. So we can say kalpa beda. That means there's some changes between one pastime and another pastime. They may not be identical because Lord Ram also performs his activities in different ways in different kalpas. Okay, so that's something you can again see and appreciate. And Ram is always described, or sometimes he's described as darkish in complexion. But where is this? This is from Laghu Bhagavatamrita. He says, Rupa Goswami explains, that he looks like a splendid new blade of durva grass. Means what is the color of grass? Greenish. So Lord Ram takes the color of greenish, according to Rupa Goswami, and he's accompanied by the Bharata and the twin Lakshman and Satrughna. Yeah, and he appears on the 24th Chatur Yuga cycle as the son of Kausalya and Dasaratha. Okay, that's how it's explained by Rupa Goswami. So I just wanted to give you all an understanding of that. So here also Srila Prabhupada at the end, he says, although the Ramayana composed by Valmiki is a huge literature, the same activities are summarized here by Shukadev Goswami in a few verses. So because there's so many different versions of Ramayana, and Shukadev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, you have already heard many times about Ram and Ram's pastime. So just like we hear every time Ram's pastime. So he says, I shall only give you some of the activities and I'll only speak briefly. Because he's speaking about the different avatars of Lord Krishna, and Ramachandra is one of the avatars. Text 4. To keep the promise of his father intact, Lord Ramachandra immediately gave up the position of king and, accompanied by his wife, Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which were so delicate that they were unable to bear even the touch of Sita's palms. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman, or by another monkey, Shugriva, king of the monkeys, and by his own younger brother, Lord Lakshmana, both of whom gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. having cut off the nose and ears of Shurpanaka, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. He therefore became angry, moving his eyebrows and thus frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge to cross the ocean. Subsequently, the Lord entered the kingdom of Ravana to kill him, like a fire devouring a forest. May that Supreme Lord Ramachandra give us all protection. It's a very nice summary, no? If I were to ask you all to give a summary, you may give a too long a summary. Here, very nicely, Sukadeva Goswami gives this summary. So yeah, the father actually, he made a pact with his wife Kaikeyi. He has 3 wives, and one of them is Kaikeyi, and so she wanted her son Bharata to take the position of king, and that Ram should go in exile for 14 years in the forest. And so the father Dasarath, he reluctantly tells Ram he needs to do it, and Ram immediately gives up the position of king. Now, a lot of times people think Ram is displaying the ideal character, right? That's the main thing. He gives ideal son, ideal husband, ideal brother, ideal king, ideal whatever you can mention. He is that, and in fact, you can also say Lakshman and Sita. They were also very ideal, also, right? Lakshman wanted to serve his brother, and so he also went in exile with his older brother Ramachandra for 14 years. And so did Sita. She could have stayed back in the palace, but she said, no, I'm your wife and I want to serve you. And so she also wandered in the forest with him. So these are good qualities. And nowadays, when you tell people about such qualities, they will think this guy is crazy. Right? They will say, why did he go into the forest? And they'll say, maybe he should have brought his father and mother, stepmother to the court case, and then sue the stepmother and take back his kingdom. But what we need to understand is this is the standard, the quality, the character of great personalities, that they are willing to undergo what the word was given. His father's word was very important for Lord Ramachandra, very, very important. So therefore, he wanted to show that his father's words were true and not false. So in the Vedic culture, these are important things. So these are ideal behavior. Nowadays, we will minimize certain things that we don't like, and then we will maximize things that are not even good. You can see in society that's what's happening. But here you can see Lord Ramachandra very quickly, he enjoys the showing his fellow men as well as his own family that he is not worried about it. So in a sense, Lord Ram is also teaching us to be very dependent on the Supreme Lord's mercy, that we should not worry about sudden changes in our life situation. Sometimes things may go off so much, and who do we blame? We have a tendency to blame, right? And many times I've seen in our movement also, devotees who suddenly are put into a very difficult situation, they immediately say, why is Krishna doing this to me? They do not understand that the situation could have been even worse. Maybe Krishna has minimized the difficulties they are going through. Now, of course, it's very difficult because when you are suffering, you cannot rationalize properly. You will see things in different ways. You will always want to be relieved of the suffering, and therefore you will argue as you like. So these are nice behaviors, and we will not go too much into it. And then later on, they came to this very nice place called Panchavati. And there, this sister of Ravana, Shurpanaka, so she comes and then she tries to kill Sita because she wants Ram for herself. Ram is very beautiful. He is shockingly beautiful. Uh, and so she tries to kill Sita, and at that time Ram told Lakshman to take care of her. And Lakshman quickly cut her nose and ears off. Actually, Shurpanaka is a Rakshashi. Rakshasas have a very ghastly and horrible looking feature. They look like very demonic feature. But when she approached Ram, they also have the potency to transform their shape and size. So she became transformed into a very beautiful lady, very beautiful, but still Ram said, no, I'm not interested. And when Lakshman then cut her nose and ears off, and she felt that they actually scorned her. There's a saying, right? Hell hath no fury than a woman scorned. So she was so angry with Ram and Lakshman, and and she also realized that Sita was also very beautiful. And to take revenge, she went to her brothers within the same region, Kara, one of the generals, and then she, and that's another story without going too much into it. And then they came, Kara and his men came, and they were killed by Ram very quickly. And later on, she saw the whole battle, and one soldier escaped from the battle between her brother Kara and Lord Ram. There were more than like 14,000 warriors, and Ram actually killed them very quickly. Or maybe it's 1,400. But anyway, he kills them all very fast. And one of the soldiers, he escapes, and Shurpanaka also watching from a distance. So she then runs back to Lanka, and she complains to Ravana. And Ravana wasn't interested. He said, no, forget it, go away. I'm not interested. And then she knows about Ravana. Ravana is a very lusty person. Every woman he sees, he must have them. And so she describes the beauty of Sita. And the more she describes, Ravana cannot control himself. Then he says yes. And then at that time, the soldier who also escaped from the fight came and explained to Ravana that it's not possible to fight this Ram. He's superhuman. He's very powerful. And Ravana gets even more angry. He said, how can a human being be more powerful than the Rakshasas? Rakshasas are considered to be higher than human beings, and so therefore he couldn't accept that. And so then he comes to the Panchavati disguised with the help of his friend, and he kidnaps her. Now, obviously here, Sukadeva Goswami says, may that Supreme Lord Ramachandra give us all protection. Throughout the Ramayana, you'll find Lord Ram is always giving shelter. It's an amazing quality. He never refuses anyone. So he says, if anyone comes to me and says, please give me shelter, even if they are doing all kinds of nonsense, I will give them my shelter. Such amazing quality, of the Lord. So let's continue. Text 5. In the arena of the sacrifice performed by Vishwamitra, Lord Ramachandra, the king of Ayodhya, killed many demons, Rakshasas, and uncivilized men who wandered at night in the mode of darkness. May Lord Ramachandra, who killed these demons in the presence of Lakshmana, be kind enough to give us protection. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he was a little boy, one of the, they used to go to get some fruits from a particular tree. And then the guard was, and then the local people said there's a ghost in the tree. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very scared. So then one of the guards, who was the servant of the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's family, he told Bhaktivinoda Thakur, if you chant the name of Ram, all these demons will not attack you. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur said he started chanting Ram's name, and he felt, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur is such a pure person, when he chanted, he said he felt completely in peace and that he felt that he will be protected. So yeah, so we should always call out Ram's name. Of course, you can call out Krishna's name also, but yeah, when you call out Ram's name, he is ready to protect us. O King, the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra were wonderful, like those of a baby elephant. I guess baby elephants are very cute and wonderful to look at. So therefore, here Sukadeva Goswami is comparing the pastimes to those of a baby elephant. In the assembly where Mother Sita was to choose her husband, in the midst of the heroes of this world, he broke the bow belonging to Lord Shiva. This bow was so heavy that it was carried by 300 men. But Lord Ramachandra bent and strung it and broke it in the middle, just as a baby elephant breaks a stick of sugarcane. Thus the Lord achieved the hand of Mother Sita, who was equally as endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature. Now, at this time, Ram was only about 14, maybe 15 years old, and Sita maybe a couple of years younger than him, 13, 14 years old. Thus the Lord achieved the hand of Mother Sita, who was equally as endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature. So she's actually the goddess of fortune. Indeed, she was the goddess of fortune who constantly rests on the chest of the Lord. While returning from Sita's home, after gaining her at the assembly of competitors, Lord Ramachandra met Parashuram. Although Parashurama was very proud, having rid of the earth of the royal order 21 times, he was defeated by the Lord, who appeared to be a Kshatriya of the royal order. The pastime of Parasuram is that his father is Jamadagni, and Jamadagni was killed by the Kshatriyas. And these Kshatriyas were very, they were not respectful of the Brahmanas. And so when they killed Jamadagni, Parasuram's father, Parasuram then meditated, and then the Lord actually empowered him. So he's a Shaktivesh avatar. Sometimes he is also the Supreme Lord himself. Sometimes he's a Jiva. So then he's a Shaktivesh avatar, and then he, at the speed of the mind, he went and killed the Kshatriyas who attacked him. They came in, many, many millions of Kshatriyas came to attack him, and yet he killed all of them. So the battle took place in Kurukshetra, mostly. So there are 9 lakes in Kurukshetra. So it is said that Parashuram kills 21 times these soldiers and Kshatriyas, and it filled this lake, 9 lakes of blood. And later on, they transform into water. So if you go to Kurukshetra, you can take bath in those water and become purified, actually. And therefore here in this, when Parashuram's advent was over, his job was over, so to speak, the reason for his potency, then Lord Ramachandra appeared. So Parashuram, when he heard that Ramachandra broke the bow of Lord Shiva, he wanted to challenge him. because there were two bows made by Vishwakarma. One bow was made for Lord Shiva, the other bow was made for Vishnu. They used it to fight the demons in the very beginning of creation. And the bow of Lord Shiva came into the family of Janaka. And the other bow went to the family of Parasuram, Jamadagni. So Parasuram was very proud because he has defeated this Kshatriya. So when he heard of a powerful Ramachandra, he wanted to challenge him. So he came to challenge him. And then at that time, he gave his Vishnu bow. And he said, if you can string it, and you can, and then you put the bow, and then I will agree that you're powerful enough. So then Ram strung the bow, and then he put the arrow. Then he said, whenever I string and put the arrow must go somewhere. I cannot just take the arrow away. It must go somewhere. And then Parasuram realized, that his potency, that he is now actually witnessing the Supreme Lord in front of him. And so then he prays to the Lord, and then he accepts defeat, and he leaves from that place. And actually, when they are talking, Dasarath and everyone who are watching, they could not see what was happening, the discussion, according to Valmiki Ramayana. Continuing text 8. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramachandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. Ramachandra had no problems giving up. Right? For most of us, if we say, okay, you give up this position and do something else, how do we feel? Right? Think about it, we become so attached. Let's say in the morning, someone is said, okay, you lead the kirtan. And then by evening, Satyasa comes and says, I don't want you to lead the kirtan. I want someone to lead. How do you feel? Do you feel joyful, or you feel rejected, dejected, or unhappy? So here, Ramchandra is told to give up the entire kingdom, Ayodhya. And he's so happy to fulfill his father's desires. And so he says, okay, and he goes to the forest. It's just amazing. And he just goes to the forest with his wife and brother. Text 9. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Ramachandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshasa friends, aided by Kara, Trishira, and Dushana. Yeah, it's 14,000, not 1,400. Yeah. And I've already explained that quick pastime. Text 10. O King Parikshit, when Ravana, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramachandra from his ashram, Ravana sent Maricha in the form of a golden deer. And when Lord Ramachandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it, and finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. The pastime is, as long as Ram and Lakshman were in the ashram, Ravana cannot approach Sita to kidnap her. So he didn't want to fight with Ram. He figured, he said to Maricha that if he can kidnap the wife, then Ram will become very unhappy and he will die. And his brother will then die, like that. So then that's what his plan was. But actually, more than that, he actually wanted to enjoy Sita. That was his main thing, and he was thinking, these two men, they cannot really fight with me, but let them die, if they lose their wife like that. So he sent Maricha, and Maricha transformed into an amazing looking deer, golden deer with silver dots. You've seen normal deer, right, with black dots and so on, white dots. But this one was golden deer and exquisitely beautiful, and he had silver dots, and it was so fascinating to look at. That when Sita saw that, she told Ram, "I want this. I want this." Right? How many times your wife or your wife or your daughter or children ask you, "I want this, I want that," and how many times you have to say, "Okay." So in the same way, Prabhupada mentions that Ram was like a hand-packed husband. So yeah, whatever the wife asked, he would do it. And so he quickly followed the deer, and the deer kept going and disappearing. And so then Ram realized this was a trick. This deer is not ordinary, and so he killed it. And when he killed it, the deer transformed back into Maricha, and then he shouted. He imitated the voice of Ram. So he said, "Oh Lakshman, oh Sita," like that, because he wanted to distract at least Lakshman also. By that time, the deer had gone quite far away from the ashram. And so Ravana is still hiding and watching, waiting for Lakshman to leave also. All right. So when Lakshman was still there, Ravana was not happy. And therefore when Maricha, just as he was dying, he shouted Lakshman's name. So then Lakshman was thinking, why is Ram even calling me? And then Sita was agitated. She said, "You have to go and help my husband." Then he said, no one can defeat him. In this world, in this three world, no one can defeat him. He's so powerful. But she said, "No, you have to go." Then he said, "No, I don't have to go." Then she accused him. "You are here because you want to enjoy me." So that hurt Lakshman so much. And so he stood up and left her. As he left her, then Ravana came and kidnapped her. So when Ramachandra entered the forest and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Ravana kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshmana as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women. So this is all the pastime. The Lord is showing how when you attach too much to your wife or anyone, actually, even your children, then this is what happens. You become very distressed. So one has to be very careful how much one wants to be attached to. The best person to be attached to is, of course, Krishna and nothing else. Yeah. And the separation from ordinary point of view may appear that Ram is in distress, but actually the separation is called Vipralamba. That means they are separated, but they are feeling the anticipation of meeting in separation. The joy of meeting in separation is the experience Ram and Sita are going through. From external point of view, it's a pastime. But actually, for them, it's not. It's like they're feeling great ecstasy, actually. Okay, so continuing, text 12. Lord Ramachandra, whose lotus feet are worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, had assumed the form of a human being. Thus, he performed the funeral ceremony of Jatayu who was killed by Ravana. The Lord then killed a demon named Kabanda, and after making friends with the monkey chiefs, killing Vali, and arranging for the deliverance of Mother Sita, he went to the beach of the ocean. So after Ravana kidnapped Sita, right, and then he was trying to fly off, there's this an ancient bird called Jatayu. They are one of the first born birds. They're very huge, very huge. So Jatayu became friends with the Ram, Lakshman, and Sita when they were living in that area in Panchavati. And so when he saw Sita was being kidnapped, Jatayu jumped up to rescue. But Jatayu was an old man at this time. His younger days are gone, but still he was so powerful that he actually attacked Ravana very nicely. So finally, Ravana couldn't handle it. He took his sword and cut Jatayu's wings, and Jatayu fell down and broken. He was dying. So Ravana then flew away with Sita. And then when the Lord came, he saw Jatayu, and he felt great love and affection for Jatayu for protecting and trying to save his wife. He said, I could not be available for my father's funeral, but you are just like my father's friend, and you are just like my father. It seems that Jatayu also knew Dasaratha. And so he said, therefore, I will be your son, like your son, and do your final funeral rites. I just imagine the Supreme Lord is doing for for Jiva, so much amazing, And thereafter, after killing Kabanda, he finds Sugriva, and then he helps Sugriva by killing his brother, who was actually very evil, Bali. And then the monkeys then helped him to locate where Sita was. After reaching, text 13, after reaching the beach, Lord Ramachandra fasted for 3 days, awaiting the arrival of the ocean personified. When the ocean did not come, the Lord exhibited his pastimes of anger, and simply by his glancing over the ocean, all the living entities within it, including the crocodiles and sharks, were agitated by fear. Then the personified ocean fearfully approached Lord Ramachandra, taking all paraphernalia to worship him. Falling at the Lord's lotus feet, the personified ocean spoke as follows. O all-pervading Supreme Person, we are dull-minded and did not understand who you are, but now we understand that you are the Supreme Person, the Master of the entire universe, the unchanging and original personality of Godhead. The demigods are infatuated with the mode of goodness, the Prajapatis with the mode of passion, and the Lord of ghosts with the mode of ignorance. But you are the master of all these qualities. My Lord, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravana, who is a great source of disturbance and crying for the 3 worlds. He is the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go kill him and thus regain your wife, Sita Devi. O great hero, although my water presents no impediment to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you. So, it is said that when the ocean actually didn't respond to Ram, so he got very angry. He went and looked at the ocean, took his arrow out, and the water started boiling. So the ocean came out and apologized. Actually, the ocean demigod was afraid of Ravana. He thought if I helped him, he'll cause problem. But then he realized actually this is Supreme Lord. If he will protect me, so that's when he came out, and then he tells him, please construct this bridge. So later on, after the ocean goes away, Ram will build this bridge. So they just, all the monkeys, everyone helped. So they threw boulders, rocks, mountains, everything in the ocean, and they built all the way back to Lanka. Because at Lanka, who was it? Ravana was thinking, how can they come? They cannot come here. They need boats or something. And if they come, we can destroy those boats. The Rakshasas are very powerful. They can fly. They have these yoga siddhis. So it's amazing. They can fly. They have superhuman strength and so on. So they were very proud of their abilities and prowess. But here, this amazing, uncommon deed was performed by Ram. It is said that Ram would write his name on the boulders or something. Some people say that. And then it is thrown in the ocean and it would float. And in Rameshwaram, right? In the southern tip of India, it's a place called Rameshwaram. So some devotees said they have seen these floating boulders and stones in that region. People are worshipping it. Not many are left, but there are some. So it's amazing. Okay, continuing. 16. Sukadeva Goswami said, after constructing a bridge over the ocean by throwing into the water the peaks of mountains whose trees and other vegetation had been shaken by the hands of great monkeys, Lord Ramachandra went to Lanka to release Sita Devi from the clutches of Ravana. With the direction and help of Vibhishana, Ravana's brother, the Lord, along with the monkey soldiers headed by Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, entered Ravana's kingdom, Lanka, which had previously been burnt by Hanuman. 17. After entering Lanka, the monkey soldiers, led by chiefs like Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, occupied all the sporting houses, granaries, treasuries, palace doorways, city gates, assembly houses, palace frontages, and even the resting houses of the pigeons. When the city's crossroads, platforms, flags, and golden water pots on its domes were all destroyed, the entire city of Lanka appeared like a river disturbed by a herd of elephants. When Ravana, the master of the Rakshasas, saw the disturbances created by the monkey soldiers, he called for Nikumba, Kumbha, Dumraksha, Durmukha, Surantaka, Narantaka, and other Rakshasas, and also his son Indrajit. Thereafter, he called for Prahasta, Atikaya, Vikampana, and finally Kumbhakarna. Then he induced all his followers to fight against the enemies. Now, up to this time, Ravana was thinking there no problem. He can easily defeat them. But what he didn't know was these monkey soldiers that were with Ram were actually also demigods who took birth to help in the pastime of the Lord. So they were also very powerful, or equally powerful as Ravana and his strong sons and followers. So finally, Ravana had to come out and fight. So we continue reading, text 19. Lord Ramachandra, surrounded by Lakshmana, and monkey soldiers like Sugriva, Hanuman, Gandhamada, Nila, Angada, Jambavan, and Panasa attacked the soldiers of the Rakshasas, who were fully equipped with various invincible weapons like swords, lances, bows, prasas, rishithis, shakti, arrows, khadgas, and tomaras, different types of weapons. Text 20. Angada and the other commanders of the soldiers of Ramachandra faced the elephants, infantry, horses, and chariots of the enemy and hurled against them big trees, mountain peaks, clubs, and arrows. Thus the soldiers of Lord Ramachandra killed Ravana's soldiers who had lost all good fortune because Ravana had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. The monkeys never used any weapons. They just used the trees and stones, mountain peaks, and that's how they actually fought usually. Those that could use clubs and arrows, they were very few. But in general, they just used their hands, because monkeys, if you have noticed, monkeys are very strong, extremely strong, They can hang on one hand, for a long time and swing. So, text 21. Thereafter, when Ravana, the king of Rakshasas, observed that his soldiers had been lost, he was extremely angry. Thus, he mounted his airplane, which was decorated with flowers, and proceeded toward Lord Ramachandra, who sat on the effulgent chariot brought by Matali, the chariot driver of Indra. Then Ravana struck Lord Ramachandra with sharp arrows. Lord Ramachandra said to Ravana, "You are the most abominable of the man-eaters." Rakshasas are actually, they kill humans and they eat them also. So even though they they can do other things, but they seem to like eating humans and sages in the forest. Indeed, you are like their stool. You resemble a dog. For as a dog steals eatables from the kitchen in the absence of the householder, in my absence you kidnap my wife Sita Devi. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes sinful men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I, whose attempt never fails, shall punish you. You can see the chivalry or the chivalrous nature of how a Kshatriya talks in battle. They condemn their opponents, they talk, make them angry, and then they'll fight. After thus rebuking Ravana, Lord Ramachandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana, and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas, alas, what has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane, just as a pious man falls to earth from the heavenly planets when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. So finally he got his due. He was so powerful, no one could defeat him. No one could touch him. Even Indra couldn't defeat Ravana. Once Indra, I think, charged Ravana's chest, and his and Airavata's trunk was completely damaged. So Ravana is very proud. He was thinking no one can kill him, and that Ram is just an ordinary human being, and he cannot kill him. But you can see here in this particular verse, he is killed. Text 24. Thereafter, all the women whose husbands had fallen in the battle, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, came out of Lanka, continuously crying. They approached the dead bodies of Ravana and other Rakshasas, striking their breasts in affliction because their husbands had been killed by the arrows of Lakshmana. The women embraced their respective husbands and cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. So I think I'll stop here. You can see that Ravana is finally killed, and thereafter Sita is released by Ram, and she is tested because she has been with Ram for almost a year. And so people in those days, generally they'll think if a woman leaves the protection of the husband, then she is spoiled, and therefore they will not accept her. So Ram was hesitant, but Sita then showed in front of everyone that she was still chaste, and so she walked through a fire, and then Ram accepted her, and together they climbed the Pushpa Vimana, and then they flew all the way back to Ayodhya. So that's precisely what happens in this particular pastime. Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. So it's an amazing pastime. And if you have opportunities to read the Valmiki Ramayana, you will see how amazingly Valmiki wrote this pastime. It's just amazing how he has constructed the epic. Um, the academics, they consider Ramayana to be equal to Homer and Iliad, you know. But of course, this is more than Homer and Iliad. So I will stop here. If there's any comments or questions from you devotees, we can, or even some pastimes you want to add, I'm happy to hear. All right. So Hare Krishna.
Devotees, please unmute and ask if you have any questions, or you can share comments as well.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol.
Kamala
Yes.
Thank you so much for the nice class, Prabhuji. One quick question, Prabhuji, that you said initially that this Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and everyone, it's direct. They came directly, expand directly from Chaturvidya Vivaha, that Aniruddha, Pratyumna, Vasudeva, and Sangarsana. And you also said, there are other pastimes, they came as from Anantashesha, Balarama, Parafulana, and Skonshal. So when they came from them, still will they be a Jivat, the Vishnu Tattva, Prabhuji?
Well, when which one? The second one or the
second
first
one? The
second one, they are Shaktis,
Shaktis, okay.
Yeah. Except for Sesha, he is divinely empowered, and he's also an expansion of Balaram and expansion of Narayana or Shankarshan. So he is divinely expanded. So he is like a Vishnu Tattva. Except for him, others are Shaktis.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Is there any pastime that I can refer that, from the second one?
Pastime? Well, you cannot tell, no, because unless the acharyas make it very clear, because the Ramayana from the different Ramayana and the pastimes in the Puranas, they referred to many pastimes of Ramayana. So some of them could be and some may not be. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, Radha Damodar.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So one question I have is about Parashuram. So why Parashurama being Vishnu Tattva himself, why he had to fight to recognize, I'm wondering what is.
Well, Parashuram's pastime is he is subduing the Kshatriyas. Right? The Kshatriyas became arrogant and they were not respecting the Brahmanas. So he thought Ram was like that. So he came to challenge Ram. And, he's thinking Ram is arrogant, Kshatriya, so he came to challenge. So when he challenged and when Ram subdued him, he realized this is the Supreme Lord himself here. Yeah. Okay, Haribo. Anyone else? Yeah. That's it?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah.
We would like to, Keshavani Prabhu will give a quick thank you note.
Oh.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, thank you. Wonderful class, Guruji, and you took like 9th canto, like 10th verse and 10th chapter, clearly discussed about the Vishnu Tattva and the Jiva Tattva differences and explained about the expansions of Narayana, the direct expansions of Narayana Chaturvyuha expansion of Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrugna. And you also explained clearly about the different dhams, Ayodhya Dham, Goloka Dham, and all Vaikuntha planets, and the devotees in Ayodhya Dham, how their mood will be, which is the different from the mood of Goloka and Ayodhya. Also, I really like the point of one day of Brahma, the exact numbers of 4.32 billion years, and one day and one night of Brahma, and different versions of Ramayana, and all the how Rama appeared, like Varaha appeared twice and Matsya appeared 14 times. So it's a very, very important details, and different versions of Ramayana also in different kalpas. And all the entire story, like of Ramayana from text 1 to we discussed up till 25 text today, and really liked the explanation and about Parasurama, the importance of Parasurama, and everything. So thanks a lot, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. And thank you, everyone, for taking your time out this morning to come and listen. And may Lord Ramachandra bless all of you today, so that you can all feel protected and fearless, so that you can take up this process of Krishna consciousness steadily for the rest of your lives. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Devotees, thank you for joining, and we have a celebration at the temple this evening, starting at 5:30 p.m. And there will be a Arati Abhishekam to Ram Parivar, and also a special Ram Katha by His Grace Radha Krishna Prabhu, and the Prasadam after that. So
And if
please,
you can, you guys should fast until the evening.
of course, we sent out the
Oh,
communication.
you sent out, okay.
Fast until sunset. Thank you very much, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.